Good evening and welcome to episode 70 of the Jacksonian. I'm yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and I have with me is the host of CFB Mafia, the one and only himself, Nathan Bomber Brown, as we'll be going over our take on the BYU Cougars from last season, 2025, conference realignment, which would be our dream scenarios, the future of college football, and much more. And let me tell you something, folks, you're going to be in for a wild ride. How you doing today, good buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Jackson, for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate the invitation.
Well, thank you for coming on, good buddy. And for those who don't know about you, try to tell the audience a bit about yourself.
Sure. So, me and a team of thousands have decided to start a YouTube page called the College Football Mafia Family or Network. All you have to do is go to YouTube, type that in, or you can find me on Twitter. You can see all of our handles underneath my Twitter, underneath my picture right here. And we talk all college sports, not just realignment, not just during the season. We cover all the news that's big, realignment being one of those, but the House settlement, all the legalese that's going on with Congress, and just try to cover as much of the news as we can to inform those that decide to follow us and watch our shows.
There we go. But, as you got that BYU hat on and the BYU stuff, we'll definitely start it off with 2024. And I got to tell you, that was a surprise year right there.
Yeah, I think I think everybody at Cougar Nation, except for maybe Coach Kalani Sataki, they thought that we were very grateful for that season.
Yeah, and I'm looking at like week 2. Now, a lot of people were thinking about Jordan Love getting hurt in Brazil against the Eagles, right? Now,
Right.
at the same time, I'm watching that on my iPad, but I'm also watching BYU SMU on the TV. And little did anybody know, this is the most underrated game in all of college football that nobody was really thinking about.
Right.
Because we
Well,
got
yes, SMU was underrated as well. So you had two teams that were sort of breaking out into the open, and they both had a really good season.
Yeah, I mean, like SMU, like at that time when they lost to BYU, people were saying they don't belong in the ACC.
Right.
Yeah, because like close win against Nevada, but little did anybody know they'd be smacking TCU off the face of the earth.
Yes, that's right.
And it's just like good grief. Then you got like week 4, Big 12 after dark. Cougars are smacking Kansas State off face of earth. That's something you don't see every day.
Yeah, that was a beatdown for sure. There was a 6 minute spell in there. Me and my wife went to that game, and it was absolutely amazing live.
Oof. Oh yeah, that's cool, man. At Friday Night Magic, Oklahoma State. I remember watching that one. I stayed up till midnight watching that classic.
Well, you don't want to play in Provo in a night game. Unfortunately, what we lost to Kansas in a night game. That was the one downtrodden game of the entire season. But yeah, you don't want to come to Provo and play Mountain West elevation type football after 8 p.m. Eastern.
No, you don't. I mean, like Kansas, that they were disappointing in 2024 because I can't help but feel like they were kind of like 2021 Iowa State. The similarities are really there with the
Right.
2024 Kansas team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I had Kansas really high on my list to be in the preseason. I think I had them fourth or fifth, but they sure played spoilers for several teams last year.
Oh man, I had more faith than you did apparently because I actually had them winning the Big 12.
Oh wow, that's yeah. See, that's yeah. I mean, there's lots of teams that underperform too. Oklahoma State and Utah being two of those. So
Um, Oof, that BYU Utah game. I was so glad to see it back last
right.
season, but it's just I hate that they're not having it on rivalry week. I feel like the Big 12's missing a golden opportunity, and apparently nobody is utilizing Thanksgiving Day correctly.
Right.
So I mean, it's like put it on Thanksgiving Day or put it
or
on Black.
the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I don't understand why that game isn't already locked and stocked. The Holy War should be on rivalry weekend, and the fact that it's not has BYU and Utah fans not very happy. But there must be a reason for it because they did it again this year.
I remember you saying giving that idea on Big 12 Live on Big 12 at the Voice of College Football with Mark Rogers.
Uh
Like
huh.
I was like, that's an excellent idea. Like I don't know why nobody's thought of that, but they should.
Well, I didn't come up with it. John Wilner did. So got to give credit where credit's due. The writer John Wilner actually put that in one of his articles. But I think it's a brilliant idea, and I'm really surprised nobody's done it yet.
I know, right? I mean, like, who's really thinking about BYU Houston rivalry week? No offense to Houston or BYU.
Right. No, that was a disappointing way to end the season. And
No,
would have been nice to have big names and numbers showing out on rivalry weekend.
oh man, that would have been cool. Then you got the Alamo Bowl. That was a beatdown.
Yeah, it really could have been more points. I think Kalani called off the dogs in the second half of that game, and it was 31-7 at one point, or 34-7, something like that. And Kalani's just like, look, we don't really run score up on anybody, and Dion's a decent guy, so there was no reason to really embarrass him. But I believe, on top of the bad interviews that Shadur Sanders did, BYU cost him a few $1 million in the draft because they made him look pedestrian in that game.
Oof. Yeah, I mean that was just brutal on Colorado, but a great win by the BYU Cougars.
Yep,
But
for sure.
oh, like that last part of the season was wild. Like Arizona State coming out of the blue in November. Like that was
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, November wasn't so good for BYU last year, unfortunately. The Kansas game is where the wheels came off the tracks. If they would have beat Kansas and lost Arizona State, they still make the championship game. So, yeah, that was kind of bad timing.
That's true. But we got 2025.
Sweet.
Magic is totally. There's the rematch of the Alamo Bowl, September 27th, as the conference opener. The BYU Stanford game, and of course, when they scheduled it, like we know it, but for those who don't know it, BYU and Stanford, when they scheduled this game, this was when Stanford was really good in 2013,
That's right. That's right.
and it wasn't when they had pitiful Troy Taylor.
No, in fact, I believe Stanford ended up in the top 10 that year at the end of the season, if I remember right. But that team, they went to the Rose Bowl. Can't remember if they won or not, but regardless, that was a
They
pretty good team.
They actually lost to Michigan State in the Rose Bowl 2013 that year.
Oh, so they did lose. Okay, I couldn't remember. I knew they were in the game. I just wasn't sure when. But you're right. These games are scheduled a decade in advance. You don't know who they're going to be playing by the time they come around. Now Stanford's way down. They keep losing players left and right. BYU should go out the gate 3-0 if we are being perfectly honest.
Well, and I'll be quite frank about Stanford. One thing I've made sure never to do in my lifetime, and this is a lesson that I took from oh man, I forget the guy, but he went to school at Maryland, and he was part of the halftime show for the 1993 AFC playoffs between the Bills Oilers, and he was warning people, do not underestimate Frank Reich. So
Well, there you go. That's a long way. That's the long way in the past there, Jackson.
well, I mean, YouTube archives really come in handy. I tell
Hey,
you what.
you're one of the smartest kids out there, so I don't look down on any of the stats you put out.
Well, I do my best to make sure I've got everything all set. But
Right.
Frank Wright, like that guy, I hope he does well at Stanford, honestly. And
Yeah,
if
we'll
no one's
see.
and if no one's paying attention to BYU Stanford, which I mean, I'm going to be real, a lot of people aren't, which that will work in Frank Wright's. That will work to
Right.
his advantage
I agree. Yeah.
because that
He's now in an AACC that maybe is a little bit top heavy as well. So if he gets off to a good start, Stanford could do something.
true. And it's like I really hope he's either the Nets head coach at Stanford officially, or he becomes the Nets head coach at Maryland if they decide to get rid of Mike Lotzley. Because I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, Mike, those Maryland uniforms, I just can't get past them.
they're trying to be Oregon. That's so
They
fun.
really are. Their helmets are all anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh man, like East Carolina, man, it's like
That's a
they're
scary trip. That's
true.
a scary trip. BYU's lost there before. Um, they could easily go there if they get off to a slow start. The BYU could lose that game.
Ooh, that just screams trap game all over the place.
Oh yeah, before Colorado, absolutely it is. Yes.
Ooh, scary.
Yep.
But of course, we got West Virginia. I wonder if Pat McAfee will be in Provo.
It wouldn't surprise me. He likes being here. He came and was at the Utah game against USC a couple years ago. So it is possible that he shows up for that game. But that game, I'm going to guess that game's going to be on Fox. I think that could be a Fox um, featured game. So they play during the day. That is possible. It just depends how good West Virginia is. But that's a good home game for BYU.
Well, I mean, that makes a perfect Friday night for me. I mean, BYU West Virginia on Fox. It's all right for me.
Oh, that's a Friday game. I apologize. That'll be a night game then, obviously. I'm sorry about that.
All
Yeah.
right.
I didn't catch the date for Friday. My bad.
It's all right. Maybe I need to kind of make it bigger.
It's
Bigger.
okay. I could have paid more attention. It's not your fault, Jackson.
It's all good. But BYU Utah in the middle of October. It's
I have nothing good to say about that timing. There's not one good thing I can say about the timing of that game. I don't understand what they're doing at the Big 12 offices. They're screwing up one of their top 3 rivalries in the entire conference. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, but that game is going to be a knockdown, drag out. There's going to be bare knuckles and blood on the field. It's going to be vicious because of what happened with Utah last year.
Oh man, their AD was raving mad at the press conference. Like he's up at 2 a.m. It's like, dude, you gotta go to bed.
Yeah, Mark Harlan is not. Yeah. Anyway, they could do better. I think. I think most Utah fans want a different AD. So
Sorry, Wild Ute. Sorry, JT Worcestershire. Nothing personal, Vince.
there you go.
We like those Utes. We like JT Worcestershire at Locked On Utes, and we love Wild Ute, but we're just not too crazy about that AD.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Ames, Iowa. That's always a scary trip, right?
Yeah, that's another tough road trip. Not happy about that one either. I just don't understand what BYU is really sort of getting thrown around. They're back to back to back home games are brutal timing. Um, yeah, I don't like any of it. You know, people talked in the offseason 2 months ago like BYU had this favorable schedule. I look at the schedule now. Texas Tech wrote $20 million in checks to get players to come there. So they're going to be improved. The only game you could maybe look at would be TCU. Is not that challenging, but you go at Arizona, Utah, Iowa State. You do have one bye week, but then you're back with Texas Tech. I mean, that's a very tough stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm excited to see BYU TCU as a conference game because, like, in a way, it brings back nostalgia for me from,
Oh, right, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, the Mount West days.
Yeah, those were bloody battles too. TCU was really good, and BYU wasn't too bad either. So yeah, I'm glad we're in the conference with TCU. They're a good conference mate.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool seeing them together again. I mean, it is. There we go. BYU Cincy. I mean, Cincinnati's they're a disaster with Scott Satterfield.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that game. Maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe we get Cincinnati and UCF back to back, and UCF has to travel to Utah. So I guess you could look at a TCU, Cincinnati, UCF. You could look at that and say, "Wow, that's a good stretch. We could get a little momentum going." But it's that middle stretch that I worry about.
Ooh, certainly. Because I mean, like the Big 12, you would think that you see, oh, somebody's predicted to be in first place, they're automatically going to win. Yeah,
Right.
not so fast. Not so fast. Oh,
Yeah, Kansas and Kansas State. I'm glad they're not on the schedule.
oh yeah. I mean,
Can I just
they're
because the last 2 years they've really put the wood to us in one way or the other, either one team or the other. So I'm glad they're not on the schedule this year.
yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at the Big 12, and I'm really hoping Iowa State doesn't disappoint everybody like
Right?
they did 4 years ago. Like, that's a team I actually want to see win a conference title. Like it because
Sure.
like they're like the underdogs that never like they have not won a conference title since before World War I, the Spanish flu, the
Yeah, and I
Great.
don't understand that because they've had some good teams. So I don't understand how they can't win a conference. That blows me away.
Oh, I mean, like 1912. Like, oh my
That
god.
is a long time ago.
It, it's like it's
That's
hard to
funny.
forget it. Like when you see it every year when you're buying the preseason magazines,
Well,
it's
they
like,
finally won 10 games, so that's something that they'd never done before. So maybe this next year they'll go out and they'll actually win the conference. I don't know. If you look at BYU's schedule and that middle stretch of games, I think BYU. Yeah, I don't have BYU doing anything less than 9-3, but I believe they're a 10-2 team. So we'll have to see.
well, I mean, because like, I haven't really figured out everybody's records yet. But when it gets to like July, late June,
Yeah.
I think I'll have it figured out by then.
Right, we're a little early yet. We're still in what, May? Yeah, it's not necessary now. I'm just thinking about the schedule as it broke down. Texas Tech could surprise. The Utah game's always a toss up, and then Iowa State. That's your toughest 3 games in a row. I don't think Colorado. I think they're going to regress. Um, I can't remember who Arizona. I think regresses as well. So
Oof.
those are the 3 games that I worry about.
Oh yeah, because I mean, like Arizona, they disappointed everyone last season in the
Oh
first
yes.
the Brent Brennan era, but
Yes.
now they're maybe they surprise everybody, maybe they don't, but I know they're missing Jed Fierce, something fierce.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jed Fish, he got a better gig, You can go play at my Washington Huskies. I think that's a better choice for him.
Until he finds another better gig.
He wants to be in the NFL, so I'm
Oh,
not sure that happens anytime soon, but that's where he would like to have his final destination.
oh yeah. I mean, like he'll have the smiles ready for the cameras, but when the time's right, if and when he's getting Washington like 10-win season, he's
Yes.
out.
Yeah. I mean, if he can put 2 back-to-back 10-2 seasons together, they're in the CFP back-to-back years. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they could easily lose their coach and bring in another one.
Oh yeah. I mean, anything can happen in this crazy world of college football for sure.
That's for certain. Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, Central Florida, I know they gotta be happy not having Malzahn.
Yeah, that was a disaster from the beginning. An absolute disaster. Scott Frost being back, I think, is a good thing. He did very well 8 years ago, and I don't have any reason to believe he can't turn him around. But it's going to take a couple years. The team to win was last year.
No.
UCF had some really high recruits. If they were going to win games, it was going to be last year, and they did not do that. So,
No. Because I mean, like that's the thing with him is like they're always like Malzahn teams always flounder when they're the favorites, but when
Right.
nobody's watching them or even talking about them, that's where they thrive.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's like I don't know if that's going to be happening with Florida State 2025, but we'll definitely wait and see.
Okay.
But like Texas Tech, oof. Yeah, they've been doing well in the portal, but the fact of the matter is they're not doing as well as they should. They're not having 10-win seasons like they expect.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech underperforms, it seems, quite consistently. So they need to change their stars. In other words, they need to change the direction the ship is going in. And if you're going to do it, this year could be that year.
It better be, because if it's not, then McGuire's on that hot seat for 2026. And Mike Gundy better have a really good year for 2025.
Yes, I would agree with that. Mike Gundy took a pay cut to keep his job. Um, I don't know if they've got it in them. Oklahoma State, that's another team I'm glad BYU doesn't have on the schedule.
Oh man, it's like you not want to go to Stillwater.
Not if I can help it. I mean, we've done it 2 years ago. We did it, and yeah, that was painful because BYU was up through 3 quarters, ended up losing by 10. I mean, that's just bad.
Oof.
So we'll have to see.
Agreed. But but it looks like we'll probably be seeing realignment stuff happen in the next few years, at least in the Big 12, the ACSC Big 10. If you had to pick a dream scenario, which would it be?
You mean what for realignment? Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Big 12 sits in the best position of the ACC and the Big 12. Certainly, I think the ACC is eventually going to blow up because their best brands are going to be leaving.
Yeah.
They're going to be going to the P2, and then they're gonna want to find a different home that's going to pay them more money. That's not going to be the ACC. That would be a Big 12 that will be going up to its next contract negotiation. The ACC doesn't have another negotiation until 2036. So I think that's, in my opinion, we're going to end up with 3 conferences, roughly around 20 teams, or they're going to bring football sort of outside the conference framework, and they're just going to put the best X number of brands together to go play and to get a championship. But I think the days of massive media deals like the Fox one with the Big Ten. Somebody needs to prove to me that money's going to be there again in 5 years because
Oh
the
man.
economy's down. People are losing money in their 401ks. There's all this other, then there's NIL spending and all this other expense. Where does the money come from to drop another whatever $8 billion to cover basketball or football conference? It just doesn't. I don't think that's where they're going to get the money. The money has to come from a different place. So that's what I
Well,
think is going to happen between the Big 12 and the ACC.
yeah, I mean, it's like I don't see like the ACC dissolving. I think it's going to have the fate of the old Big East, where they have to rename their conference
Quite possible.
because
Or they keep ACC, that's fine, but they're not really playing big boy football. It's pretty tough. They will end up like the Pac-12
yeah.
if they don't make some massive changes now. If they can't keep Florida State, Clemson on side, that conference is going to cease to exist as a power conference.
I'll be honest, like if there is realignment to watch for, and here's my dream scenarios: Florida State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Miami in the ACC, but then you trade Missouri to the Big 12 for Oklahoma State. This way, we got Missouri, Kansas back as a Big 12 conference game, and we got Oklahoma State back on rivalry week. And the Big 10, let's get Notre Dame in the Big 10. We'll have to figure out that 20th team, but let's trade Rutgers to the ACC for Pittsburgh. so that we could see Pittsburgh, Pitt State on Black Friday every year.
I mean, that sounds like a wonderful rainbows world you live in there, Jackson. I don't know how Rutgers and Missouri are going to give up big money to
That's
leave
what. That's why they call it a dream
the Big Ten.
scenario.
It is. That's a literal dream. Is anything possible until it's not? Yes,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't think anything like that's going to happen.
I feel like we're gonna see like Louisville, Pitt, join
Yeah,
the Big 12. We're gonna see Virginia Tech in there.
yeah. I don't know about Pitt. If you do the math, Pitt is like number 9
Oh,
of most desirable brands. So if you lose Miami, Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina, let's assume you lose those top 4. The next picks are going to be either Georgia Tech, Louisville, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech. And that's 4 right there. That doesn't include Pitt. So it depends how many teams leave will then determine how many end up going somewhere else. I didn't even mention Virginia, right? Virginia has to find a home. So
yeah.
I don't know. The math doesn't. Right now, I have Pitt on the outside, unless they do something very kind of like Colorado did and went quick and went early to the Big 12 so they don't get left behind. I think Pitt could get left behind in a rump Big East ACC conference.
Well, I hope to see Pitt in the Big Ten. Like I know it's not happening, but I want to see it happen. It would be nice. But what I'd love to see and what I know that we'll see are two totally different things.
Right. Yeah, well, that's for all of us, I think. Rivalries matter to you and I, to the football aficionados that like to watch rivalry games. We don't like what's missing, but I don't know another way to fix it. And
I know,
nobody
right?
nobody can tell me the end all be all. Is it making Nick Saban the commissioner of college football? I hope not. So
Oh,
we'll have to say Bob Thompson is better suited for that.
oh, there we go.
Yeah. I don't think he wants the job. He likes to golf 7
Oh,
times a week, but it's possible.
sounds like we need a college football commissioner election, and
Right.
we need to have some debate moderators set.
That would be awesome. I'd sign up for that job. That would be fun.
I could sign up for the second debate.
Oh, you can do it if you want. I don't care. I'm just saying it would be cool to have somebody else giving their opinion that isn't, sort of tied up into the NCAA and the A4. Somebody outside of those groups helping, I think, is really important.
There we go. Well, I mean, I'm not under ESPN directories. I mean, it's like I'm good to go there. I
There
mean,
you go. There you go.
so it's
I
like, I
like
mean,
it.
yeah, I mean, I call it the Fun Bomb Show, but I don't think that counts.
It all works. Whatever it takes to keep your head over the fence, as it were. I think that's important to do.
There we go. There we go. And we got that CFP system. Are we gonna eventually go to 16 teams? It looks like we are. I mean, I know we're going to like 14 teams, which I'm
Yeah.
just like,
I think 16 is the final destination. Now, what that's made up of, I don't know. Greg Flugar put out a tweet today saying that coming out of the ACC meetings, they're saying that they're only going to agree if it's 4-4-3-3. That would stun me if that happened, because that would mean that the Big 12 and the ACC both got 3 teams in a 16-team field. That would be a huge win for the Big 12 and the ACC.
there we go. I mean, like, there needs to be some big wins for those conferences for
Oh
sure.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it.
And ACC, they're trying to keep Notre Dame happy, so it's like that would help them enormously if they were to able to get Notre Dame be that 18th team.
Right, and maybe in that situation they would consider joining the ACC if they know that all they have to do is win. Well, I don't know. I still think they're going to stay independent, because all they have to win as an independent is 9 or 10 games. play one or two tough out of conference. Well, he doesn't have a conference. One or two tough games against some of the best teams in the land. You lose 2 games at Notre Dame in a 16-team field, they're going to get in every year.
Oh yeah.
So why join a conference where you're now fighting for table scraps, right?
Well, and the fact of the matter is, like that Notre Dame USC rivalry, I worry about that going away after 2026, and I
Yeah,
feel like
that would suck. That would suck.
it'll suck for all of us. I mean
Yes, it
that
would.
that rivalry's been going on since the Roaring Twenties.
Yeah, I'll miss it if that ends up happening. But as I was telling Four Horsemen Pod today, I really believe that that's not the worst thing that could happen to Notre Dame. You lose USC, sign another 12-year deal like you did with Clemson with somebody else, right? Sign another deal with Florida State, sign another deal with Miami. There's other ways to fill those big game things. It doesn't have to be with USC in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but it would be nice to see my Notre Dame USC because like we got to celebrate that 100th anniversary of that rivalry.
That would be great. I would love to see that. I'd love to see Michigan back. Notre Dame, Michigan we've been missing that. So we'll see. Who knows where we end up.
But on the bright side, 2026 gonna have the 60th anniversary of the Notre Dame Michigan State game of the century where they had that enormous 10-10 tie.
Oh, great. Okay. I didn't even know about that. So that'll be great to see.
I'm just making sure I'm just like keeping an eye on those. And I don't think Notre Dame, Michigan is going to be, they're going to wait till 2033. I know that's what it says on FBS schedules, but I don't buy that. The NBC's not going to let it happen.
No, I think NBC is all in on Notre Dame. They're going to do whatever they can to make that work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
a time doesn't make a ton of sense to me to put a time on it.
Oh, great. Yeah, because I mean, like for the longest time, they had Notre Dame, and it was like the only sports event on NBC for the longest time.
Yes, that's
until
right.
they brought back NFL football with NFL Sunday Night in 2006.
That's right.
And they've got that Big Ten TV contract they're sharing with CBS and Fox since 2023. Now they're going to have the NBA in 2025, 2026. So I'm thinking like they want to keep the Big Ten happy and Notre Dame happy, but they want to definitely keep everyone else happy.
Sure. I mean, if it's possible, keep everybody happy, right? I don't think that's possible, though. Somebody is going to be on the outside looking in, and it may be USC. If Notre Dame doesn't join the Big Ten, they already play 9-game conference schedule. I don't know how they can keep the USC game. It'll be tough. It'll be a tough. They could swing it if they really made sacrifices, and I'm not sure they're willing to make those sacrifices.
Maybe we need to write a letter to NBC and the Peacock app. Just be like, "Hey, Notre Dame, USC."
I'm sure they've seen it on Twitter. I have no doubt that they've seen all that information already.
Oh, I think letters will work. Emails, like anything, like hey, can you talk some sense into Notre Dame? Get them to join the Big Ten or something like that.
There you go.
Do anything you can to keep Notre Dame USC. Like tell them that you are going to air Notre Dame USC on NBC every year. You're keeping it away from CBS. Let CBS have Nebraska, Iowa. You get Notre Dame USC.
Sure. It sounds to me like you've got a political campaign you want to run, Jackson.
Well, I'm still kind of too young for Senate, but apparently I'm old enough to run for Congress. That's the funny part.
There you go. There you go. Run for Congress and you become the czar of college football.
Then when I'm done, I'll just be like, okay, I did my job. Now I'm retired.
There you go. You only have to do it and fix it one time. It only requires one person to fix it, and they're going to be legendary.
There you go. There we go. Well, all righty, Nathan. What you got going on in the world of CFB Mafia this week, good buddy?
So tonight I'm supposed to have Bob Thompson on. It's supposed to be an ACC discussion talking about the ongoing negotiations with the ACC and Notre Dame, and realignment. How do they split up these teams so they can get the most money in the fewest number of hands? So we want to talk a little bit about that, and also we want to talk about the Mountain West Conference and Pac-12 saga, where that ends up, and we're going to go through all that with Bob Thompson, the retired president of Fox Sports and the creator of the Big Ten Network. He's retired, but he does our show. I think he only does 3 shows, and we're one of them. So we're really grateful when he has time to do that. There is a chance I will have to postpone tonight's show. I had one scheduling difficulty that might pop up. So if you're watching this and the show is about to pop on, I would just check your Twitter and make sure you're following me just for the latest updates. That way you'll know if I had to move the show to a different time. So Jackson, thank you so much for having me on here. This has been fun.
Well, thank you for coming on, good buddy. And let's get Nathan to 10,000 subs on CFB Mafia on YouTube. Let's
Yes.
give CFB Mafia a follow. Let's give Big 12 Mafia, which is Nathan's account. Let's give BYU Bomb3r a follow. Let's get him to let's get them all to 10,000.
You've got them all, and I'm so grateful that you've done that. Thank you so much, Jackson.
There you go. And if you don't like X or Instagram for whatever reason, he's got you covered on Blue Sky.
I do. Look me up on Blue Sky, or you can communicate on our YouTube page. We do answer comments there.
There we go. Let's give him a follow on Blue Sky. Let's get all those accounts to thousands and thousands. I promise you, you won't regret it, everybody. Tell your friends, family, and the cashiers at Publix about the magic that Nathan Brown is bringing on X, Blue Sky, and YouTube. And, of course, check out the 37th edition of Crimson Tide Live, where Coach Burtz and myself go over our take on Josh Jacobs, going on Busted with the Boys on Barstool Sports. Did he almost pit Missouri? Tune in for more on that. We go over our take on Saban's new role. And we are at 2,582 subs on Alabama at the voice of college football. We're 18 subs away from the magic number 2,600. Yeah, I mean, Texas went to the SEC title, but if you want to help beat Texas and Oklahoma and tell everybody that Alabama's really running the SEC,
there you go.
Subscribe to Alabama with the voice of college football, and you won't regret it. And you can also check me out on my personal channel on Jackson Johnson 979, where I have numerous episodes of the Jacksonian and other stuff with my buddy Austin from Sports Talk with Austin, Will from Will and D. And now I'm 331 subs away from that magic number 1,000. Thank you so much for helping me get there, everyone. And of course, if you want to hear more updates on what I've got going on the Jacksonian or on Alabama with the Voice of College Football, check me out on JacksonVOCFB on X/Twitter and on Instagram and Threads at JacksonJohnson543908 and on JacksonJohnson97 at Blue Sky, where I also put my once a week calls on the Paul Feinbaum Show, where the weekends are full of surprises. And let me tell you something, he's real surprised because he's not getting nutty callers anymore.
Paul Feinbaum, that guy's a character for sure.
For sure. Not as big as character as Jim from Tuscaloosa. I think that dude needs to take his meds.
Okay. All right.
But of course, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss no video or another episode of Jacksonian whatsoever. And we will see you soon. Have an awesome Thursday night, everybody.
See ya.